Hi, so winter is almost upon us. Yes, CAT 2022 is just round the corner. Keeping this in mind, we know each and every one of you is really excited but is also looking for the last final push and the fillip that is going to add those extra 5, 10, 15 percentile to your final CAT score. Well, because of this, BYJU'S exam prep brings to you the last lap to CAT 2022 starting on the 17th of October all the way till the 20th of November. Yes, 4.5 intensive, in fact almost 5 intensive weeks of preparation. What more, the focus is predominantly going to be CAT, which means, as we know, time, speed, distance and time and work in totality have almost equal weightage or sometimes even more weightage than geometry. So can we go ahead and leave geometry and just focus on these two? Can we go ahead and leave entire theta para jumbles and still score a 99.99 percentile in verbal? Yes, we can. This and much more in terms of preparation, in terms of intensive questions that we're going to look at and the smartest way of going ahead and solving that. So catch us on the BYJU'S exam prep app, and in case you missed that, on YouTube. But go ahead, download the BYJU'S exam prep app and also get a 99 percentile kit which is going to help you ace CAT 2022. See you soon.
A very good noon to all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to you. Right, so I am Nikita and I welcome you to this session, Important CAT VARC Questions. So you have been requesting for para-jumbles, para-summary questions, and that is what we are going to do in this session. So very good afternoon to all of you who are joining right now. Hi Varun, hi Divyashri, hello Maitri, good noon Yaneshwari. All right. So what are we going to do today? We are not just going to look at some questions. We are also going to look at the question types per se, in the sense of how to approach them, right? How I should approach a para-jumble question, an odd sentence out question, a para-summary question. And of course, we are going to solve some questions as well, right? That's how we are going to learn. So this is the agenda for today. And let's talk about type in the answer para jumbles first. So I'm sure by now you've practiced a lot of tests, okay? You've practiced a lot of topic tests, mock tests. So you know what type in the answer para jumbles are. And you also know that there is no negative marking for these questions. Yes? No negative marking. For the last 2 years, we've been getting 3 questions from type in the answer para jumbles. So 3 questions means 9 marks, yes, which is not less. So that's what we are going to focus on, how to score these marks. Now, if I talk about the last 7 years, see, 2015 was when CAT pattern changed. So initially there used to be 5 sentence type theta para jumbles. Just imagine, you had to arrange all the 5 sentences on your own. So that used to indeed be a difficult task, and therefore some students started leaving these questions altogether. So then the number of sentences were reduced to 4. So for the last couple of years, we've been getting 4 sentence para jumbles, right? Since 2019, I believe, yes, we've been getting 4 sentence para jumbles. So now it appears much more doable. The task is much more doable. And let's see how not to leave these questions, how we can be selective in these questions, and let's say choose the easier ones, but still attempt them, right? A very good afternoon, Disha, Prince. Hi, Ajay. Hi, Soumya. Good afternoon. Okay, so if I look at a typical 4 sentence parajumble, so you have to arrange the sequence on your own. The good thing is that there's no negative marking. So look at this question here. Very simple in language, in topic. Let me see how you arrange it and who answers the fastest. Yes, let's attempt it. Question number 1. Good afternoon, Amrit, Charu. Hi, Aditya. Question number 1 on your screens. Good afternoon, Sachin. Okay, Varun has answered. Let's see what the others say. Okay, so the responses that I've got all put 3 in the beginning. Very good. All right. A lot of 3, 4, 1, 2s. Let's see other sequences also. All right, all right. So, not a difficult parajumble question. Okay, so my suggestion to you is that just look at the language of the parajumble and see if there are enough links or not. And here we do have enough links, enough connecting words as we call them, to actually give this question a sincere shot. However, moreover, right? Also, 3 is a very clear cut opening sentence. So even that does not pose a problem. Sometimes we are unable to find the opening sentence. So even that does not pose a problem here. So life in a rural Kashmiri village seems idyllic to Shalini. See, Shalini, noun pronoun relationship is also there. Okay, however, soon she notices. So life in a rural Kashmiri village seems idyllic, perfect to Shalini at first, as she is befriending lovely people and admiring majestic natural scenery, especially in contrast to the cacophony of urban Mumbai. Okay, so initially it's perfect. Life there seems, see, at first, the moment I say at first, no, that means I'm going to contrast it later on. Initially, ऐसा लग रहा था. At first, it seemed like this. Seems, at first, these are clues, right? Soon, however, she notices the lack of access to basic medical care or education. So initially, it's or everything seems perfect. Soon, however, she notices something. Okay, people here are one injury away from starvation, one misspoken word away from detainment or death. So, see, negative things. So, once I've begun the negative things, so first I talk about the positive things, then I contrast and begin with the negative thing, then I continue with it. People here are one injury away from starvation, one misspoken word away from detainment or death. Moreover, now see, of course, the sentence that further talks about something negative and has moreover is going to come later on, no? So, first I give something positive, then I start with a contrast. So, this starts with the contrast, so this comes next. Then I further give you more aspects of this negative thing, and then I state moreover. Okay, so 3214. Also, when I talk about access to basic medical care, so this fits with one injury away from starvation, right? One injury away from starvation. So, yeah, this fits with medical care. So, 3214 is my sequence here. Okay. So, I hope this is clear to you. Quite a few of you gave me 3214 also later on, right? Initially, I got a lot of 3412, but then later on 3214 also I got in good numbers. So, good that you identified it. This was an easy question, and I hope that you do give these kinds of questions a sincere shot in the exam. Right now, see, vocabulary matters in the sense that if you knew the meanings of words like idyllic, uh, words like cacophony, words like Shangri-La. Yes, what is Shangri-La? I know that it's a hotel chain, but actually, the word itself means an imaginary beautiful place. Okay, an imaginary beautiful place where everything is perfect. Utopia can be a synonym for that. An imaginary beautiful place. So when you realize this, you realize that in fact, 4 fits as the last sentence because we started with something that seemed utopian to us, idyllic to us, and now we are saying that life in Kashmir is far from a Shangri-La utopia. We end on that note, right? So the more vocabulary you know, the more you read, the better you become at such questions. Okay, let's have a look at the second question now. Now, here I've kept 5 sentences because earlier, as I told you, 5 sentences were asked. So, we should have some practice of these questions also, right? Yes. Arrange it in the correct order and tell me the answer. Let's see, let's see. Okay, all right. So very different, diverse responses this time. Confused between 2 and 1 as the opening sentences. You shouldn't be Varun because see, 2 says the cardiac disease. That means we've talked about this cardiac disease earlier, most likely. Okay, so I've got how many? 7 responses. That's it. What about others? All right then. Quite a few of you say that 1 is the opening sentence. Good. 1 is indeed the opening sentence. Okay, so let's have a look. Scientists have for the first time managed to edit genes in a human embryo to repair a genetic mutation. Okay. Fueling hopes that such procedures may one day be available outside laboratory conditions. So this in a way introduces this paragraph. It tells us what has happened, what we are going to discuss in the coming sentences. Absolutely correct. Right. So this is what they've done. All right. Now, 2 says the cardiac disease causes sudden death. Which cardiac disease? We don't know, so 2 cannot come next. Correcting the mutation in the gene, okay, would not only ensure that. So now, 3 looks promising after 1 because we are talking about editing a gene and, correcting a mutation. But notice carefully, correcting the mutation in the gene would not only ensure that the child is healthy. From where has this child come into the picture? Which child? We haven't talked about a child in 1, 2, or 3. So that means 3 also does not come after 1. That the child is healthy, but also prevents transmission of the mutation to future generations. All right. It is caused by a mutation in a particular gene. What? What is this it? And a child, now, okay, child comes for the first time. Okay, a child will suffer from the condition. So 4 should come before 3. A child will suffer from the condition. Okay, it is caused by a mutation in a particular gene and a child will suffer from the condition. Which condition? Even if it inherits only one copy of the mutated gene. Okay, so 5 contains the answer to all these questions. What is the condition? What is this cardiac disease that we are talking about? 5 says, in results announced in Nature, Nature is a very popular journal actually, where science articles are published, science research papers are published. In results announced in Nature this week, scientists fixed a mutation that thickens the heart muscle. Okay, so it is giving me more information about 1. What is it that they did? What kind of mutation did they fix? They fixed a mutation that thickens the heart muscle, a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Okay, so 5 should indeed come after 1. It tells me what is it that they did, what is the name of the condition that they fixed, right? Now tell me what should come next out of 2, 3, and 4. Yes. So I just named the condition. I'll talk about what it is caused by. Yes, it is caused by a mutation in a particular gene, this condition. Okay, and a child will suffer from the condition even if it inherits only one copy of the mutated gene. Right? Okay, then what next? What next? So what is it caused by? In turn, what does it cause? It causes sudden death in otherwise healthy young athletes and affects about 1 in 500 people overall. Right? Lastly, correcting this will be helpful for us. Okay, correcting this will be helpful for us. So, a condition called this, okay. The cardiac disease causes sudden death in otherwise healthy young athletes and affects about 1 in 500 people overall. Just a second. Mm, should it be 4-2 or should it be 4-3? Yes. What do you say? Should it be 4-2? Should it be 4-3? Tell me. 4-2, 4-3. See, again, when I just looked in the beginning, okay, when I was going through this, 4-3 did look like a pair to me. 4-3 did look like a pair to me, right? However, when I again arranged them carefully, I realized that, okay, first I'll talk about what is this condition caused by. Then I'll talk about that how this condition is affecting young athletes and affects about 1 in 500 people overall. So then I realized that, okay, 4-3 was an order and 4-2 will be in the pair instead, right? So 4-2-3. This is going to be our sequence. I hope this makes sense to you. Acha, you say 4-3 and not 4-2. Yes. Why 4-3 though? Why not 4-2? You feel that, okay, first I'll define that what is the impact of this cardiac arrest, sorry, of this cardiac disease. A condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It causes sudden death. It is caused by, okay, mm, okay, correcting the mutation. 4-3-2, right. No, sorry. You say 2 first and then 4-3. 2 and then 4-3. Makes sense actually. 2-4-3 also makes sense. So what should we prefer, 4-2-3 or 2-4-3? I think I will go with 2-4-3. 1-5-2-4-3. Why? Because of the child-child connection that I initially formed. The child-child connection that I initially formed. A child and the child. Yes. This is what I'll go with finally. 1-5-2-4-3. So see, that is why sometimes these 5 sentence parajumbles can become challenging because you have to arrange all the 5 of them together, right? So even though, I have seen and done this question earlier, but because every time when I look at this question, there are so many clues here. Like, okay, this is the name of the condition. Then this calls it the cardiac disease. This calls it the condition. That even I have to think very carefully while arranging it. And perhaps that is why, it was reduced to 4 sentences. But we should be prepared for this also. And that's why I took up this question. Right. So I would say that it was still an easy to moderate question because after some analysis, see, even in the exam, when you make a sequence, let's say you made this sequence, you always revise this sequence. That's what I do. I always revise my sequence because that gives me a clue if something is off. So here I realized this that okay, something was off and then I corrected. Okay. Hope this makes sense. All right. Coming to our 5. Okay, okay. What discussions are happening? Just a second. If the sentence consists of results, it is not necessary. No, Varun, it is not necessary that if it's a result, then it will be the, just a second. Yeah. If it is the result, then it will be the concluding statement. No, that is not necessary. Okay. It depends totally on the structure of the paragraph. Okay. Let's come back to our 4 sentence parajumbles again. Yes. And here we have 4 sentences. We do have a number of clues here. So let's see what you say about this. Yes. Uh, okay, Amrit, I just saw your text, your message. Why do you think that 5-4 is a better pair? Because see, we are saying that it thickens the heart muscle. In 5, we said that, yes. So what is the impact of this thickening? What is the impact of this thickening? It causes sudden death. So if you think of it that way, 5-2 also makes much, I mean, it makes in fact much more sense. And then the child-child connection is what actually told me that, okay, 4-3 should be a pair there. Okay, 3142, 3421. Okay, okay. So number of clues in this one. This one is easy, relatively easy. So I took one easy, one moderate, one easy question for you. So all of you say that 3 is the opening sentence. Absolutely. Yes. It tells us that what this person did. Yes. Starting in 1970s, this guy and his collaborators borrowed some ideas from philosophers who had written on the nature of morality and convention and conducted a series of experiments for demonstrating that young children react very differently when asked about these typical moral transgressions, like one child hitting another, and typical conventional transgressions like wearing pajamas to school, that they react very differently to it. Okay, so on the basis of this work, what work? This work. Turiel proposed and defended a definition of morality or definition of morality according to which moral transgressions involved harm, injustice, or the violation of rights. So he defended a definition rather on the basis of this work. Right. Now I'm putting a gap between the two. I'll say that 3-1 is a pair when I've read the other sentences. Yes, just playing it safe. This led to an ongoing debate about the extent to which moral cognition differs across cultures. What will lead to a debate about the extent to which moral cognition differs across cultures? This defending of the definition, right? So this defending of the definition of morality led to an ongoing debate about the extent to which moral cognition differs across cultures. And one more reason why I'm placing 2 after 1 is that if you look at 4, it talks about these non-Western cultures. So this seems to be an example of sorts of differences across cultures. Moreover, it is elaborating on what the debate was. Okay, it is elaborating on this debate. Other researchers, notably Richard Sweder and Jonathan Haidt, argued that Turiel's definition, see, so first I'll mention a definition and then I'll come to it. 4 has to come after 1. Turiel's definition does not travel well because people in non-Western cultures treat a much wider range of transgressions as moral. So it differs across cultures. People in non-Western cultures actually treat a much wider range of transgressions as moral. Okay, first I talked about the work and then I said that he defended a definition based on this work. So 3, 1, 2, 4. This is our answer, right? Let's see who gave this to me first. Who gave the sequence first? 3, 1, 2, 4. Ajay. Then Nikita. Then Gaurav. 3, 1, 2, 4. Good, good, good. Yes, 4 is an elaboration of 2. Absolutely correct. So the 3 of you got the sequence correct. If anybody else also thought of it but didn't answer it in the chat box, you guys are also correct. 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay. Any query, please ask. So these were some your typical type in the answer parajumble questions. Okay. So coming to our next question type, odd sentence parajumble questions. Now, odd sentence parajumble questions have always been of 5 sentences. Okay. And this has been the trend for the last 7 years. They can be time saving because you do not have to bother about making an entire sequence. So, honestly speaking, in my type in the answer parajumbles in the exam, I sometimes go selective. Okay, I do not attempt all the questions at times. So, what I'll do is out of the 3 questions, I'll go for the 2 questions that I find to be, of familiar language or having a lot of connectors. So I give them a sincere shot. For the other remaining 1 question, I randomly type a sequence. Okay, because then I feel that my time is better invested in odd sentence or para summary. So that's what I do at times. Sometimes this has also happened in a couple of slots. Students have got lucky and all the 3 type in the answer parajumbles have been on the easier side. Okay. However, in case you find these question types to be difficult, extraordinarily difficult, then this is something that you can go for. Okay. Coming to odd sentence parajumbles, I think everyone should give them a shot. There are just 2 questions. There is no negative marking, so it's a win-win situation. Coming to our first odd sentence parajumble question. Let's see what you say for this. 5 sentences? Yes. Okay, just a second. Just going back to our previous question. Okay, Prateek has a question that, see this. So, Turiel proposed and defended a definition of morality according to which moral transgressions involve harm, injustice, or the violation of rights. Right. So, you are saying that a debate will happen when there are other parties involved. See, I also agree with this. I'm not saying that a debate is something that can start without two differing points of view. Okay, so this led to an ongoing debate about the extent to which moral cognition differs across cultures. Okay, so you feel that first I should mention that other researchers argued that his definition does not travel well because people in non-Western cultures treat a much wider range of transgressions as moral. Okay, so uh, 3, then 1. Okay, all right, his definition does not travel well. So you said this led to an ongoing debate about the extent to which moral cognition differs across cultures. This sequence does make sense. 3142. This also makes sense. So if I compare the two, should I go from general to specific and then or from specific to general? That's the question here. Do we talk about Western culture anywhere before this? Mm, we have not talked about Western culture or non-Western culture, this distinction. Okay. What you are saying also makes sense to me. 3142 makes sense to me. Okay. Let me just think about this. Think about this question. I'll give you a final sequence towards the end. Okay. So let's go to question 4 right now. And I'll tell you about the final sequence towards the end of the session. Yes. Let me just think a little more on this. Okay. Coming to this one. Question number 4. Okay. Let's see. 5, 3. That's what I've got. 5. All right. Okay. Let's look at the two sentences. So 3, you are saying TV serials portraying political gridlock, economic anxiety, and collective psychological trauma were especially popular. So, doesn't it fit in with other sentences also? Basically, they wanted to see stuff about their social crisis. They were anxious about their place in the world. They were fearful for the future. They were ill at ease. So, yes, in such cases, such serials would be popular, right? The ones about economic anxiety, collective psychological trauma. So, I don't think 3 should be the odd one out here. Yes. 2. Uh, No, actually, see, this matches with the first sentence that they were not opting for escapism during lockdown. Okay, rather they were looking at they wanted to watch about their social crisis. So this highlights this, no, that they are pretty ill at ease, they are fearful for the future. So 1 and 2 match thematically. 5 is the answer. Absolutely correct. Those who mark 5, 5 is the answer. Why? Because here I am praising these serials for their wit, flair, originality, rather than, let's say, highlighting some of the fears of French people. It is not highlighting the fears of the French, rather, we are praising the serials for their wit, flair, originality. So, this digresses from the topic. While all the others talk about their obsessions, their fears, their anxieties, 5 does not talk about that. It just talks about the merit that these serials have. Okay, in fact, I expected some of you to mark 4 here, because a lot of times what students think is that from where has American influence come into the picture? But it relates very strongly with this, anxious about its place in the world. When you are anxious about your place in the world, basically you are contrasting your place with other places, right? Other countries. So that's how these two fit. That's how these two fit. 2 and 4. So neither of them is the odd sentence out. 5 is. Hope this makes sense. All right. Coming to our fifth one. Yes. Acha, if I have to give a sequence for this, just a second. Uh, if I have to go for a sequence for it. So, the TV popular within France during lockdown. Sorry, something is happening with my PPT today. Uh, just a second. Yeah. The TV popular within France during lockdown reveals a rather despondent picture of a nation ill at ease, fearful for the future, and anxious about its place in the world. So, 3 themes I've introduced right in the beginning. So, 2 is the opening sentence here. Okay, I wrote 3 by mistake. Now, TV serials portraying political gridlock, economic anxiety, and collective psychological trauma were especially popular. Right, especially popular. That means we must have talked about other kinds of shows also earlier. So one comes first. Far from opting for escapism during lockdown, direct pair, French viewers binged on shows that highlighted their social crisis. Okay, now TV serials portraying political gridlock, economic anxiety, and collective psychological trauma were especially popular. A number of series and films, now we are slightly expanding the discussion, were cast through the prism of one of France's abiding obsessions, its ambivalent attitude towards American culture. So 2, 1, 3, 4 is going to be the sequence. Okay, 5 is the odd sentence. Hope this makes sense. Okay, coming to our fifth question. Yes, this is from a previous year CAT paper, and it's a very good question. That's why I thought to discuss it with you. Okay. 'Thank you, Poonam, and all the very best to you. I'm really glad that the CET sessions helped. Great, great. 4 or 2. All right. So, Varun, between 4 and 2, actually the choice is easy. You can eliminate one of them from your list. 5432. Okay. 2. All right. So this is a nuanced question. And when you read it for the first time, it feels that all of the sentences are related. None of them is completely unrelated, isn't it? So every sentence seems to fit. So which should be the odd one out then? That's why I took up this question. Now see, let's discuss this. As more and more stories, so a lot of times what students do is that very hurriedly they say 5 is the odd sentence out because it talks about stories, genres, etc. However, if you look carefully, even 2 is talking about narratives of sexual assault. Narratives. Narratives are related to telling stories, right? So 5 and 2 are actually a part of the answer. They're a part of the paragraph. As more and more stories of sexual assault have been made public in the last 2 years, so we are talking about stories of sexual assault becoming public. The genre of their telling has exploded. Crimes have a tendency to become not just stories but genres. So the we are talking about telling stories related to sexual assault in public. So how do we tell such stories is what the rest of the sentences talk about. What is our tendency while telling these stories? One thing we often do with narratives of sexual assault is sort their respective parties into different temporalities, different time periods. Okay, it seems we are interested in the perpetrators' futures and victims' pasts. We are interested in perpetrators' futures and victims' pasts. Okay, so 2 looks like it can come after 5, but again I'm playing safe. Okay, and I'm keeping some distance between the two. Okay, one result is, so probably a result of telling stories in this way. One result is that we don't have much of a vocabulary for what happens in a victim's life after the painful past has been excavated. Now, if you notice, first of all, it is related to 2, that because of this thing that we do, this is the result. Secondly, it also fits with the broader theme of telling a story because we are talking about having a vocabulary. When do I need a vocabulary for something? When I'm talking about it, when I'm telling it to you, when I'm narrating it to you. So, one result is that we don't have much of a vocabulary for what happens in a victim's life after the painful past has been excavated. Even when our shared language gestures towards the future, that as the term survivor does. The term survivor shows, okay, she survived a trauma. Okay, so we have the word survivor, but we're still focused on the victim's past, right? So we are left with 4 and 1. Now, between 4 and 1, tell me which is the odd sentence out and why. Yes, Pragya. So I agree with you. Initially, when you look at this question, it looks like 4 is also talking about the victim's past. So how is it that 4 is the odd sentence out? 4 is the odd sentence out here, but 4 is talking about the past, whereas 5 is talking about stories. So ideally, it is 5 that should be the odd sentence out. But look here, look carefully. While 5, 3, 2, and 1, they are talking about conveying the story of sexual assault of a victim. 4 is focused on asking questions about the victims. And moreover, look at this. Even the most charitable questions, even the most generous questions, have I talked about asking any sorts of questions in any of the previous sentences? Then where does this concept of even the most generous questions come from? Moreover, how is it related to telling a story of sexual assault? So, this paragraph is not about asking questions about the victims. It is not about a contrast between the uncharitable or the less generous questions versus the charitable questions. It is rather about conveying the story. And one is related to conveying that story. Moreover, survivor connection, in case you notice that, also exists. Okay, between 3 and 1. So the victim's trauma after assault rarely gets the attention that we lavish on the moment of the damage. So when we are writing a story, when we are telling a story, we have moments in the story, right? So we are not paying attention to the victim's life after the past. We are not paying attention to her trauma after assault. That part does not get attention in the story. Rather, we lavish a lot of attention on that moment of damage, on that part of the story that divided the survivor from a less hampered past, right? So 5 to 3-1 actually fit, and this is a very close call. Okay, fourth is the odd sentence out here because it talks about asking questions about the victims and not really talking about their story. Okay, I hope this is clear. Yes, 4 is about investigating. It's more about investigating. Okay, great. So I hope this is clear to everyone. And yes, I thought about that one and I realized that I had missed one crucial thing, ongoing. Ongoing means that it is currently going on. So we will go from past to the present. It will be 4-2. Okay. Why? Because first I'll say, okay, he said something. Then the other researchers argued something past tense, right? This led to an ongoing debate. The debate is still going on, right? So from the past we'll come to the present. So therefore 4, 3, 1, 4, 2. Okay, my bad, my bad. Okay, because I don't remember these by heart. Sometimes I mix them up. Okay, coming to our, and I created that question. That is not a previous year question. I created it and then I goofed up. All right. Coming to a para summary question. Uh, in the last 7 years, initially, para summary did not carry negative marking, but then probably the CAT authorities realized that they are providing us with 4 options. It's an MCQ, so it should carry negative marking. Yes, now it does carry negative marking, and in the last couple of years, one of your questions out of 3 have been difficult. That has been the case. Sometimes it has been highly philosophical. Okay, sometimes it has had a number of technical terms, so that points to the need to read complex material, right? And not just, let's say, easy material or topical material, but also abstract, philosophical material. Okay, read articles based on linguistics, biology, science and tech, philosophy, psychology. Okay, these genres have appeared in your para summary questions. Okay, all right. Give us the reward, a reward. Okay, what reward do you want, education world? You can actually send me your address. I can gift you a book. I'm always up for gifting a book. Yes. Question number 6. Read it carefully. Okay, our focus is going to be on accuracy. Okay, so don't worry about the time constraint right now. Read it, eliminate, and then tell me one answer. Okay. Am I hiding some text? Just a second. No, no, no. See, it can't. Uh, Even when it is type in the answer, you need some options, right? You were never asked to type in the summary itself yourself. No, that didn't happen. I am going invisible, okay, so that you can see the options. Let's see. 4, 2. Okay. 2 and 4 are very close. Good that you realize this. One of them is the answer then. Between 2 and 4. It's basically a cause-effect relationship. Does disinterestedness result in autonomy, or does that autonomy come first and then it is manifested through disinterestedness? Yes. Let's see that. Okay, let's see that. I am coming back on the screen. Just give me a second. Okay. So, first of all, understanding this question is important, yes, and there are quite a few vocabulary words also here. So you need, as I said, that this comes from political philosophy. If I talk about the genre of this paragraph, you need to have read such articles. Aesthetic means an inclination towards the beautiful. Aesthetic political representation. It urges us to realize that the representative, the guy we elect, the person we elect, has autonomy, has freedom with regard to the people represented. He or she has freedom with regard to the people represented. But freedom then is not an excuse to abandon one's responsibility. Freedom does not mean that you'll not carry out your responsibilities. While you have freedom with regard to the people that you represent, you can't just abandon your responsibility. Aesthetic autonomy requires. So, when will you become autonomous in an aesthetic sense? Okay, when you cultivate disinterestedness. So, for disinterestedness, first you should become disinterested, and disinterested here does not mean uninterested. कि आपको interest ही नहीं है किसी चीज में. No, no. Disinterested means unbiased. So, first you need to become unbiased, then you will be able to cultivate aesthetic autonomy. Okay. Now I think you've got your answer. Those who were confused between 2 and 4. So manifested through or drawing from. So manifested is that, okay, you have autonomy in yourself. Now it is manifested through disinterestedness. Through disinterestedness, you show this autonomy. So this shows that disinterestedness is the result. Whereas this one shows that disinterestedness is the cause, drawing from disinterestedness. And what I need is that first I cultivate disinterestedness, that will result in aesthetic autonomy. Okay. So aesthetic autonomy requires cultivation of disinterestedness on the part of actors, which is not indifference. To have disinterestedness, now it says that, okay, when you want to have disinterestedness, that is to have comportment towards the beautiful that is devoid of all ulterior references to you. So, what is disinterestedness? We are defining that in this sentence. We are saying that we are just inclined towards what is beautiful, but at the same time, we do not carry any ulterior biases. We do not carry any ulterior biases. So, we are looking for a beauty that is devoid of all biases in a way, okay, in our political actions. This requires a kind of aesthetic commitment. Okay, so you need to be aesthetically committed. When you are committed, you will cultivate disinterestedness. Once you cultivate disinterestedness, you will get aesthetic autonomy. This is how it works. This is the process. Okay, so I hope it makes sense to you that first you need to have a commitment. This commitment will actually lead you to become unbiased. Once you become unbiased, you develop aesthetic autonomy, aesthetic freedom. Okay, so in terms of language, it was difficult, but once you realize 2 and 4 are very similar, you're also suspicious that one of them is the answer. Yes, and it is covering an important point of how it is different from indifference, which is very important to cover actually. That okay, this is important from this is different from indifference. Okay, all right. Yes, Shakya, absolutely correct. How do we understand this type of paragraph where the language is? So Pratik, the solution is to read. more and more such articles so that this language does not confuse you right away. So see, when I also read it, I again, I do not have a politics background, so to say. So aesthetic political representation, I also read about it for the first time. But once I read option 2 and 4, I realized that I need to figure out the cause effect relationships in this paragraph. And that's what I did. So once you discover that, it shows that okay, disinterestedness result नहीं है, disinterested process का part है. That's all that we had to figure out. Okay, this is incomplete, so it could be eliminated very easily. It does not talk about aesthetic political representation at all. Okay, then this says the former means a non-subjective evaluation of things. Have we talked about subjective evaluation, objective evaluation? This is additional, so this can't be the answer. So 1 and 3 could be very easily eliminated actually, right? Uh, Now coming to your question, in the last few minutes, what is preferable? See, para summary is just one question, so it's just one paragraph and one question. Whereas reading an RC, if you still haven't read the RC, then in the last few minutes, I think it creates a lot of pressure when you solve an RC from the scratch. That is, first read it, then solve it. So I would go for a para summary question, right? Okay. All right, I'll have to go invisible for this one, right? It's not a very difficult question. Remember this. Just that its language is again political philosophy. Okay, no, I'm not speaking. I'm just waiting for you to give me more answers. I've just got one so far, which is one. Let's see more responses from your end. Okay, 1, 3. What else? What else? So you've taken a good amount of time for this. I want more responses. Let's see. Okay. So what makes you say 1 over, let's say, 4? Why 1 over 4? That's my question. So we talk about Thomas Hobbes' views. Of course, they have to figure in the para summary question. Yes, Thomas Hobbes' views is the main point here. Now, what did this guy say? Okay, let me first come to the screen. Just a second. I just realized I'm not visible. Uh, yeah. All right, let's see this. So, with the Treaty of Westphalia, the papacy, basically the power, authority, the functions of the Pope, has been confined to ecclesiastical functions, just church-related functions. That's it. Okay. So, and the doctrine of sovereign equality, reigned. The doctrine of sovereign equality, wherein sovereign refers to the autonomy of the state. So, sovereign equality would be a kind of uh, world where while there is a government, right, but then people are treated relatively equally. So, that concept reigned. What political theory could then explain the origin and justify the functions of secular political order? It says that when this was functioning fine, when the Pope was just looking after religious function, and people were treated relatively fairly with the religious government at the helm, why then a secular political order emerged? Why did then secular governments emerged? And how do you justify them then? That's the question. So in his Leviathan, published in 1651, 3 years after the Peace of Westphalia, Thomas Hobbes provided such a theory. So Thomas Hobbes then explained that why we will need a secular political order, right? He imagined a state of nature in the past when the absence of authority produced a war of all against all. So, if let's say there were no government, then what will happen? A war of all against all, because everybody is insecure, everybody will fight each other. To escape such intolerable insecurity, he theorized people delivered their rights to a sovereign power in return for the sovereign's provision of security for all within the state's border. So people actually want an order. Okay, people don't want complete equality. People want the government to have significant control because they want the government to provide them with security for all within the state's border. The sovereign state's monopoly on power, see, even this is something that they want. So the sovereign state's monopoly on power was established as the only way to overcome the perpetual fear of violent death and war. Let's have a look. So Thomas Hobbes theorized the emergence of sovereign states based on a transactional relationship between people and the sovereign state that was necessitated by a sense of insecurity of the people. This actually is in line with what the paragraph says. So I'll just compare it with the other options, and if this is the best out of the lot, then this is the answer. Okay. Now, Thomas Hobbes theorized the voluntary surrender of rights by people, but it doesn't talk about their insecurity, their fear. Yes, it doesn't talk about that. So it is incomplete. Why are they surrendering their rights? It stems from an insecurity, right? 3. He theorized the emergence of sovereign states as a form of transactional governance to limit the power of the papacy. No. In fact, we are not trying to have this government to limit the power of the Pope. Right? That's not the aim here. This creates an unnecessary relationship between these two ideas when this relationship is not there in my paragraph. Okay. So between 1 and 4. That's why I asked you to compare 1 and 4. Thomas Hobbes theorized that sovereign states emerged out of people's voluntary desire to overcome the sense of insecurity and establish the doctrine of sovereign equality. No, this part is wrong. Sovereign equality existed when when Pope was the power. Okay, right now what exists is a secular political order. ये उसकी बात हो रही है, secular political order. So this becomes incorrect as per the information given in my passage. And that's why absolutely correct. Those who said one is the answer. That's why I said that this is not very difficult because you had a clear cut answer as the other options were either incomplete, false, etc. Okay. So I hope this makes sense to you and you realize that one is the answer. It covers the essence of the paragraph. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mehul. Correct. Correct. The Pope is the head of the church, no? The Roman Catholic Church. Their ultimate head is the Pope. Okay. I hope you found value in this session. Yes, if you did, then please press the like button. Please listen to what our team is saying. Yes. And we did some questions on para summary, para jumbles today. We will continue with this. Okay. So we will have some more sessions in this series where we'll continue with these discussions. We'll continue with some more para summary, para jumble questions. Right. This is it for today. Okay, this is it from my side for today. I'll see you in the next session. And as you know, the All India Open Mock for CAT is going on. So please do take it. Okay, please gauge your performance, understand your strengths and weaknesses, register now for it. And this is our CAT 2023 comprehensive program. You can consider enrolling in it, or your friends can consider enrolling in it. Then our test series offers a lot of practice questions, a lot of topic tests also, along with all India mocks, one of which is actually going on, along with video solutions. So there's a lot here in the test series, right? This is the last lap to CAT. It is already going on. I think you saw a video about it in the beginning. So we meet you at 7 p.m. every day. Do attend these sessions. Yesterday, I took this session here called Eliminating Options. So if that is a concern for you, how to eliminate options in RCs, you can consider watching that session. Apart from this, we can stay connected on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram. You can stay connected on any of these platforms. I hope you found value in the session. Welcome, welcome all of you. I'll see you next time. CAT 2024. So, Music Core, I conducted a session on CAT 2023 prep. Okay, you can watch that session. Everything that I talked about, the strategy to ace VRC in CAT 2023 will be relevant for you. Okay. All right then. This is it from my side. See you tomorrow. Yes. Bye bye.